Test 1 2 1 2. Slacky. Bear with me. Be sure the audio is good. Let's see. Count. Most High in Christ. I see you, Akash.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. The audio is good, sir.
Most High in Christ. The water, my brother. All righty. Let's clap it up. Most High in Christ. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar, Allah Thun, Bashim Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under command of General Yohana, right? And teaching the truth of the Bible, right? Since 1969. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Jews, the true Israelites of the Bible. This, of course, is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class, the Hebrew class, okay? And we started kind of late, so I'm just gonna run right into it. Just give me language. No, give me language of angels. Give me the one with the fake one. Eli Sabachthani. When Christ said all that. Give me that real quick, and we're gonna get into some topics for today. We're gonna do like a refresher and go back to some basics over the past few weeks. We've been talking a lot about different inflections, prepositions, possessives, suffixes, prefixes, and so on, those concepts. And in a way, we're gonna kind of talk about that today too, but just not in such way as so grammatically. We're gonna kind of focus in on, understanding the proper pronunciation of letters and forming these words, writing them out in Hebrew. But we will also discuss just different things, different, again, inflections that happen in certain words and how they affect their meaning in a sentence. Okay. I'm going to use the greetings to help talk about those things. All right. So, Yamza, if you could, Baba Kasha. Read where it says, and he spoke in his own language.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 15 and verse 34.
Right.
And at the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice,
right,
saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted as, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
One of the most famous lines that Christ ever said, one of the most well-known things that Christ said. But what people seem to forget is that Christ did not say, my God, why have thou forsaken me? Because he didn't speak English. Not only did he not say it in English, because in Christ's time, there was no such language as English. It didn't exist. When Christ died, the English language wouldn't even come into existence for at least another 500 or so years. I'll give it 400 at best that it even started to develop. But there's no English in Christ's time. What was the most commonly spoken language during Christ's time? Who knows? I know you know, Yanazar, and I know you know I don't. Who knows what the most commonly spoken language was during the time of Christ? If you're tuning in online, you can just go ahead and just type it into the comments. Right now, the most commonly spoken language on earth is what? It's English, right? English is the most commonly spoken language on planet Earth, right? You can go to an entire other country, and many people know how to speak English.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead, Akash.
They said that Jesus spoke Aramaic.
That's what they say. That's a lie, but that's what
That's
they
what they
say.
say.
That's what they say.
Yeah, and I guess the Romans was around that in those days.
Mm-hmm. The Romans were around in those days. That's correct.
Kind of.
And what language did they speak?
The Romans. I'm not sure. I know there was after the Greek. Greeks speak a different. The Grecians speak a different language, but I'm not sure what language the Romans spoke.
I'm going to surprise you. They spoke Greek.
Greek. God. God.
The Romans spoke. That was the most prevailing language at the time. Because you got to think, like, don't think of the Greeks and Romans like look at like what's happening with Russia and Ukraine right now, right?
God, sir.
They're having a major conflict. I mean, that's definitely going to lead into what we know is going to be World War III.
God.
But they're practically the same people. Like, you know, they're the same, you know, for intents and purposes. So the Romans and the Greeks are the same way. They're both just different forms and closely related forms of Edomites, right? And what happened was the Greeks changed the world. We won't get too much into the history. We all know about Alexander, right? That was a complete shifting of the tide. You understand? The Persians and the Medes, which was really two different rulerships, but you know, that was a kind of flow. Like you got to think of the flow from Babylon to the Persians and the Medes, all of that kind of flowed together. And then here comes the Greeks completely changing the scope of history in the planet Earth at the time. So when they did that, their language became the English of that time. So when Christ was around, Greek was what people mostly spoke. All right. But Christ didn't say this in Greek. I actually broke down how he said it in ancient Hebrew before. I don't have those particular notes with me, but I can tell you that when it says Eli, Eli, the part that's supposed to say my God, what it really says is Alahaya, right? My power, my power. Okay. And so, yeah, read that one more time, Yanazar.
And about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, saying,
I always like that 9th hour part, you know what I'm saying? Just to remind you what Christ was going through. He was being tortured slowly. That's what his death was like. He was not hung. I don't know if anyone else has ever heard that, but I have. I've heard people try to say that Christ was hung like a noose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just a way of saying he was hung, his body was hanging on some wood. That's all that means. But there's no way that he could be hung by his neck because he was talking hours after he started being crucified. He would have been dead in probably 2 minutes. His neck would have either snapped. But if he didn't die from his neck snapping, he would have choked to death in 2 to 3 minutes tops. But he was on there for hours and hours and hours. And then he cries out what he said here. Right? Read on.
Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Right. It tells you that Christ spoke what?
Hebrew.
Christ spoke Hebrew. People want to be like Christ so bad, but they don't want to speak how he spoke. This man's dying. He's being tortured to death. And what he just, when he speaks to his God, he doesn't speak in the language of his oppressor. He could have said something in Greek, right? But no, but it's written, recorded this way because he spoke it in his own language. And this has happened multiple times in the scriptures. Remember the woman with her 7 sons? When she died, she spoke in her own language, right? You about to say something, Yanazar? Oh, Salak, right? So that's why this language is important for us, okay? This is the language of our forefathers. It's the language of the angels. It's the language. You understand that the Most High, man. This is the holy language, right? We call it Lashawan Qadash. I haven't done this in a while, but just always to refresh. Lashawan Qadash, right? We would have so Lashawan. Remember, Hebrew's written from right to left, right? Salakia. La, simple, right? Simple. La, sha, wa, with a na. La, sha, one, because these are connected. La, sha, one. Then qua, da, and the same letter from here. See the la, sha, same thing here. Qua, da, sha. But to make this one syllable, instead of da, sha, we want it to be dash. So we connect it. Qadash, right? Of course, this wa right here, this wa essentially is reminiscent or comparable, right, to what in English? Yeah, Yanazor.
If I may, sir, it's equivalent to the ing.
Right. You want to be, I mean, I'll take that, and you're not wrong. I like to say comparable because in English, the ing doesn't always work the same. So, there's that. But it is comparable to the ing in English. Right? What is the ing? Why do I say that? This is an important lesson before we get into the actual letters and stuff today. Yanazar, I'm gonna have you old school. I'm gonna have you write the alphabet out for me. That's the Wab. Come on, but before we get into that, this is a good way to kind of talk about the difference and how you got to be careful. Okay, look up the word gerund, if you could, Yanazar. Gerund. G-E-R-U-N-D. Right, because just because something looks the same from Hebrew or from English doesn't mean it is the same. And we're just going to explain that really fast.
Gerund, grammar, noun, grammar, a verb from which functions, Salakia, a verb form which functions as a noun in Latin ending in endum, declinable in English ending in ing, asking in due mind, my asking you. Origin 16th century from late Latin gerundium, from gerundum, variant of gerundum.
Okay. So who knows what that means? There's a little, a little funky wording. Go ahead.
Like sir, I believe that it denotes action or of doing something.
You very close. In fact, you pretty much on the money. But this right here is an example of how even in English the ing does not always work the same. A gerund is a verb form, which is the thing that we use it for in Hebrew. This equivalent of ing is to turn it into a verb form, right? But in English, ing can also do the opposite. It can take something that is a verb and turn it into a noun. In those examples you gave, that's exactly what it did, right? So if I say, forgive my asking, in that sentence, asking is not a verb. It's a noun. I've turned this thing, I've turned this action into a thing that I'm doing. It's now a thing, right? I can say, she was running away. That's an action. But I could also say, running is my hobby. In that sentence, it's not a verb. Okay? So there's many examples of that. Asking and do you mind my asking you, right? Let's see, Jared, examples. Let's get one more example and then move ahead. Dancing, eating, swimming, cooking, right? Depends on how you use it, right? Lock you. Right, made from a verb and used like a noun. I have always enjoyed swimming, right? In that sentence, the action is what? Enjoyed. I've always enjoyed swimming. The swimming is a thing here. It's again, like we say, like how you can take like hoop and you can say, I'm hooping, right? That's when you can turn a noun into a verb. But then you can also say it in the opposite fashion where you take this verb and you use it like a noun. In English, you can do that, right? So I'm just pointing that out to say that the ing in English doesn't always work the same. But in Hebrew, it's always going to be to create a verb form. So lashon on its own would simply mean what? Tongue, right? Quite literally, the tongue in your mouth, pause, right? That's what lashon means, okay? But this ing makes it very clear that we are now talking about the verb form of that thing. So it's what the body part does, right? Again, think of turning hoop into hooping, you know, skis into skiing, right? What else? It's another one that kind of works in that way, right? A punch is a thing, but punching is a what? An action, a verb, right? We can do that with so many things, and that's how this word is working. So lashon it may sound funny, right? Pause, but it's almost like saying tonguing or the action of the tongue, right? Which has always been associated with speech, right? We say in many classes, we always bring up that, you know, that's why tongue is called that. That's why you speak different tongues, different languages, different speeches. Also, when you want to silence someone back in those days, you cut out their tongue, right? Because that's always been associated with talking because you need your tongue to talk, right? So yeah, that's how that works. And then of course, Qadash is simply so now Lashawan we know basically means language or speech or tongue, right? As in speech or language. And then Qadash means what? Which means what?
Holy, which means set apart, separate.
Right. Okay. So that's why you hear us say that. Lashawan Qadash. That's where that phrase comes from. God. Most High in Christ. Now, let's go ahead and take it back, man. Let's take it back to the essence. Let's take it back to the essence. Let's get these letters going. Okay. Obviously, Yanazar is going to write out these letters. Let's leave the Lashawan Qadash part up now. Yeah, let's just go with ancient for now. Just ancient. We'll do ancient, talk about it, get examples. So just use, if you could just use this part, and then we're going to talk write some stuff on this side, utilizing it. But yeah, just use this side for your ancient. It's lucky you good, bro. Yeah. Good. Most High in Christ. Okay.
All right.
Now pay close attention. To what we call letter form. Letter form is like the shape. Pay close attention to the shape of these letters. Okay? It's important, especially all you would-be officers. You are going to have to know how to write these correctly. Most High in Christ. And notice what he's writing underneath. Okay. These are called transliterations. This will come up for you officers. You're going to need to know how to do this. This is a major component of the work in terms of learning Hebrew, and speaking it. This may seem small, but this process is about, this is about 90% of understanding Hebrew in both ancient and Assyrian. Right? is being able to transliterate. The water, brother. And then somebody refresh my memory. What do we mean by transliterate?
Salakia, to use letters from a different language to pronounce another language.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Damn right. That's exactly what it is. That's all it is. Transliterate just means to use letters from another language to pronounce words in yet another language, right? It's just as simple as saying Vladimir Putin. If you were to write Vladimir Putin's name, he may not be able to read it because I don't think he can read English. Maybe he can, I don't know. I mean, he's probably very learned. He can read English? Oh, well then yeah, he definitely can, right? But some of his soldiers could not. Some of his soldiers cannot, even though it's obviously Vladimir is not an English name, and Putin is not an English word, but it's being written in English letters that some people wouldn't be able to understand, right? I mean, I don't know the only language. I don't know if you can transliterate that clickety-click language the Africans got. I don't know about that one. Hold on, I'm gonna find out. Let's see. African click language. The incredible Zulu click language. Khoisan. Okay, now can they write it or there's multiple click languages? Damn. That's scary. I'm scared. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh, good night. Well, yeah, I don't think we can transliterate that one. I don't think so. Nonetheless, that is the process we have right here. So let's start from the beginning, the actual beginning. Let's just go to. Matter of fact, no. Let's go to something different. Do something different. We'll just utilize this for the beginning. Go to Psalms 83. How about that? Let's go to Psalms 83. One of our prayers. That's what we'll do. Just real quick, just so you can see this at work. Now, mind you, what we are about to see is not written in ancient. It's written in Syrian. Psalms 83:1. Go ahead and read it in English real quick.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1 in English. A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O God. Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
All right. No. You good. You good. Now, can you pass me the actual prayer? Because I want y'all to see it, what I'm talking about. There's a part at the beginning that we don't really focus on because they're like instructions, right? But they're not instructions that we need. The first part of Psalm 83:1 says a song or psalm of Asaph. Right, so we go past that. But the first part of the actual verse. Here's what you see. I'm gonna just write what you see. Go to blue letter. You can see it yourself on blue letter. Right. After the colon, that's where it starts. Okay. Right there. There's that colon right there, and then it starts here. That's where the verse goes. Okay. And it looks like this. Actually, we'll just start with that. Now, this is Assyrian. You may say, well, those aren't the same things on the board, right? What's on the left and what's on the right is not the same. This is ancient Hebrew. On the right, this here is Assyrian Hebrew. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the transliteration. But before I do that, I want you to first see that these two they're not different languages, right? If I wanted to transfer this into ancient, how would I go about it? It'd be very simple. I'm just going to take literally every single letter, every one. And I'm just going to transfer it to its corresponding ancient letter. That's it. Okay? So I'm going to bring up the chart on the screen. Right? I'm going to put it on the screen for y'all to see it. So y'all can follow along. Bear with me just a moment. Got to go up in these files. Got it. Okay, Salakia. Boom. Window. Hey Akash, can you see the alphabet?
Khan, sir. Khan and one Khan.
Most High in Christ. Okay. All right. So as you can see, right here is perfect. You can see in this chart, or the alphabet, the top row is the ancient. The bottom row is the Assyrian. And you can see by way of their transliterations, meaning, so this letter right here, and this is ancient Hebrew, this letter is the same as this letter in Assyrian. They're the same letter. And what they are is seen right here in the transliteration. Okay? And so on. The ba here is the equivalent of this. Okay? The ga, da, ha, ha, and so on. Okay? So now, meaning if I see a phrase that's a combination of these Assyrian letters, I can easily just replace them or rewrite it with ancient letters. And if I see a word that's written in ancient, a combination of ancient letters, I could just rewrite it with Assyrian letters. The only thing I would have to keep in mind is that in terms of writing it, these 5 letters, the ka, the ma, the na, the pa, and the tza, they have a different symbol when they're at the end of a word. Okay, you see it right here. And it says, use these letters if letters above fall at end of word. Everybody, this image you're looking at right here is very famous and very well known. Fake Israelites actually be having copies of these in their school, and it'd be saying ISUBK on the paper. Or maybe if sometimes they're smart, they'll scratch it out and make photocopies where they have taken the ISUPK off of the damn thing, but they will still be using our resources and study materials in their classes. Okay, yeah, for sure. But nonetheless, this is how it goes. Okay, and so any combination, what does that tell you then? If any combination of these, right, can then be expressed as any combination of these. Oh, the other thing you'd have to keep in mind, but that would be more so in terms of pronunciation, is that there's no connectors in Syrian, unlike ancient. So with ancient, and we'll see that soon, it's very easy. If you have the connectors, it's very easy to know the pronunciation. You almost can't get it wrong because the connectors are going to tell you exactly where the syllables fall, and what letters form syllables together, which ones don't, and so on. You don't have that in Assyrian. You gotta pretty much know the words for the most part. Okay. But if any combination of these can be re-expressed as any combination of these, what else does that tell us? It tells us that in order to pronounce it, because we're native English speakers, any combination of these ancient letters, which would just be the same thing as the same combination of these Assyrian letters, well, guess what? Then it has to be some combination of these transliterations. It has to be, right? Let's show and prove. All right, so we'll hold off on that. We'll come back to that chart in just a moment. Let's go back. Salaki, I'm going to full screen myself just for a moment. Okay. So the first thing we said was that we can take this and notice, remember, see this ma? Well, I kind of gave it away, but see, this is a different symbol than if this appeared anywhere else in the word. But we're just going to take the ancient equivalents that Yanazar so eloquently mapped out for us and just put them right here. So this symbol, on that chart, we can see the equivalent of that, which is this. And what's the equivalent of this? This. And what's the equivalent of this? And what's the equivalent of this? And what's the equivalent of this? Now we write in ancient Hebrew like it's nothing. I've been teaching this class for a little while, and it still ceases to amaze me. This doesn't stop being amazing to me. That the men above me taught me how to do this. It doesn't stop amazing me. And that I had the opportunity and my brothers to teach more people, and especially that this is our language. And now we can go back thousands of years. This language was dead. They called it a dead language, right? It was dead until the ISUPK came around and resurrected it. It was dead because those people, I don't want to call them something to get me clipped on the YouTube, but yeah, those guys are not speaking our language. Even if it looks the same, it's not. Okay. So now we can do this part. Well, that helps, right? Helps to know that. But then check it out. Now, well, what else? If I can take this and put that symbol, then all I got to do is what? I have to put the appropriate. Not yet. We'll get there. What you could call the English equivalent would just be the transliteration. So this I know is what? Yanazar helped us. Yanazar put it up there for us right here. We got AH or ah. Oh, LA or la. What else we got? Oh, this looks like the next one. HA or ha. Then we got this symbol. Where we find that symbol at? Oh, right here. Ya. And then this last one, where we see that at? Right here. Ma. Oh, man. But then we got to remember what? Hebrew is not read from left to right like English. It's read from right to left. So this symbol comes first, then this one, then this one, then this one, and this one. So we have to read it as such. Even though we have our transliteration written in English, right? We reflected it this way, but we can, now that we have it written as a what? English transliteration, we can put it into the proper English order, which would be what? From left to right. So we're going to take what we have is right for left, right to left, and put it left to right. So this first. Then this. Then this. Then this. Then this. Who can read that?
Salaka, sir.
Good.
Alahayam.
Right. Is that the correct way to pronounce the word?
La'a.
La'a, right? What is the correct way to pronounce that word?
Alahayam.
Alahayim. Alahayim. Right? Because, unbeknownst to us a minute ago, there's a connector here. Which tells us, again, what did I say? Where the syllables are. Ah, la, ah, yum. That's what these do. They just tell us how many syllables there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, la, ha, yum. This tells us when two letters form one syllable. This tells us when one letter forms one syllable. Can't be more than that. Three letters cannot form one syllable in Hebrew. It cannot happen ever. Right? And so now we know it's Allah Hayum. Right? And as we look, check out our transliteration of it. That. Look at this whole prayer is made from doing this process. Okay. And why is this process so important? What are we essentially doing? If we start with this and we end up with this, what did we just do?
So, like I said, if I may,
Yeah,
we transliterated it.
you're correct in terms of what we literally did, because that's what we wrote. But mentally, what did we do? Okay, what I mean is this. For someone who has no idea what that up there is,
Translate.
in a way, yeah, right, exactly. Because even for ourselves, when it's time to read this, if we look up there and see that, but we know that we have to say that at the bottom, then that's us doing what? We're reading. We're translating it in our mind. You understand? That's every single time we're reading Hebrew, what you're looking at on that right side of the board is exactly what we're doing in our mind. We have to. We're native English speakers. It is what it is. We know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, and so on. Right? Now, one day, Lord willing, we'll get to the point where we don't even need to even think about an English letter to be able to say these things. Lord willing, but we ain't there yet. And for now, we need this process of transferring one form to another so we can go ahead and pronounce it and read it. Okay? So now, let's try another one. Lucky. Let's go to verse. Bear with me. Lucky. I'm trying to find this verse. Let's go in the opposite direction. Believe it or not, this is actually the easiest one. It's way easier to go in this direction. So, how would I go from this to this? What would I start with, and how would I start it?
So like you said.
Yeah, go ahead, Akash.
So you'll start with a
Okay. I'll start with ancient, right?
Cancer, ancient.
Ah,
Aha,
uh-huh,
la,
uh-huh.
is that yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and again,
Okay.
a da,
Mm-hmm.
a wa,
Mm-hmm.
and a ma.
What about my connectors? Where will my connectors go? Remember, just think syllables.
Salakia.
Come.
In the first word, Alahaya, you got 4 syllables. So you need 4 connectors.
You sure?
Alahai. Allah.
3.
What are those syllables, Akash?
I think it should be 3 on that one. Ha, la, Allah, la. Yeah.
Close. You right there. You're adding a syllable by accident. Who knows how to say the prayer? Who knows the prayer? Ah. You heard what Yanazar said? Yanazar
I
said,
couldn't hear.
no sweat. I'll repeat it. Yanazar said, aholia.
Khan.
Aholia.
Khan.
So where would our connectors go?
So the would be one.
One syllable. Okay. The is its own syllable.
Is its own syllable. The ha and the la are connected,
Right.
and then the ya is on its own.
Right. Okay. Now let's finish it out. Next word.
Adawam. So Wam. So da, adawam.
Yep. So where's the
So
connectors?
the is pronounced on its own.
Uh-huh.
The da is pronounced on its own,
Uh-huh.
and Wa and the Ma are connected.
Now say that whole thing together.
Ahalia Adawam.
Give him a hand. Damn right. Absolutely. Which means tabernacles of Edom.
Khan.
Aholia Adawam means tabernacles of Edom. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, come. Very perfect, right? Tabernacles of Edom. But then we run into this problem. If we were to then move this into this, which is how we see it in the blue letter, unfortunately, there's no connectors here. So we would just have to know that the proper way to say this is Aholia Adawam.
So, but Salaki, sir,
Go ahead.
if we reading, I think it's the Talmud, eh? If we read from that, we only have the Assyrian in it.
If we read from
That
the
means we have-
Tanakh, you said?
Yeah, from the Tanakh, yes.
God. Yeah,
If
if we
we
read
re-
it past through the Tanakh, Yanazar? Past through the Tanakh, is it on- No, you're absolutely right. In here, that's all you're gonna get. Sorry to burst your bubble. Oh, my brother, yeah, you're gonna get Syrian all day. All Assyrian up in here. You're gonna get no English. Assyrian. Can it be all so simple? We were just to get the ancient with some connectors and making. Imagine that, man.
Khan. So
But we ain't got it.
obviously it takes a long time to be able to read from the Tanakh.
In a way, but not necessarily. Because what we need to do is we need to become such strong scholars that we just know these words.
Khan.
We need to study things like this more. We need to study the transliterations we already have.
Khan.
So when we go to, right, to this, we already know what to expect. Salakia, right? Ahoya, Adawam. Right? Hold up. Now, sometimes you run into something where you say, oh, man, I've kind of been saying that kind of wrong. See, because it's kind of spaced out in the transliteration we have. So brothers was going to go, Wa, Yashama, Alayum. Really, that's one word. Wa Yashama, Alayum, which means, and the Ishmaelites. Right? Mawa'aba, Wahagaryum, Gabal. Right? Gabal, why I'm a one, why I'm a lot, Palashath, I'm Yashabia, Tazawar, Gam Ashawar, Nalawa, Amum, right? Hayawa, Zarwai, Labunya Lawat, Salah. I'm literally reading this from not from the transliteration, I'm reading it from here. But you know why I can do that? Because I have done that prayer so many times, right?
Khan.
Aishalahum, Kamadian, right? Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kayabian, Banakol, Koyashwan. I did it so many times And again, I ain't the super smart nigga. I don't know nothing about nothing. It's just in my brain from all the times I had to hold this and read it. So yeah, get familiar with things like this.
Cancer.
Get familiar with these things. All right. And ask questions. Ask questions about it. Why does this say this, sir? Shouldn't this say such and such? Shouldn't this? I don't understand why this. Yeah, ask questions, man. That's the only way we're gonna get better. All right. Most High in Christ. All right. I think we pretty much kind of covered this basic lettering. You haven't been. It's been a little while since we've done that. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I did want to spend just a little time just kind of going over a basic concept connected to what we were talking about last week. It's a little different, but it's still related. Still very much related. Let me get my so like you bear with me. I just gotta get something from my notes. And if anybody has any questions, of course, you can type them into the chat. Right? Or Kosh, if you got a question, you just ask.
Cancer.
Lock you. Just a moment. Where did I put it? You see? Got it. Okay. Yeah, I want to just do this real quick. So just a list of possessives, right? We're not going to go into it. We've been talking about it, but just to show you this kind of last one, that is another one that technically is not a possessive, like not even close. All right. So what's y'all mean at the end of a word? Mm-hmm. It also can be used. Remember we talked last week. It can be used as a what? An object pronoun. For me, you can use this if something is happening to you or at you. Hate me, love me. That threw me off. You know what I mean? So on. You're the object of the sentence. The action is being done upon you. Right? And then what's the ka?
As or like, sir.
Say it again.
As or like.
La. That's when ka is at the beginning of the word being used as a what? As a preposition.
Oh, Salakia.
Remember,
Yours.
these are all written at the end of words. The end of a word.
Can, sir.
Ka at the end of a
Can.
word is your or yours or thy
Like.
or
Okay.
thine, right? All of those, which and it also can be you, to you, for you, with you, right? What's wa mean at the end of a word?
His, sir.
Con, exactly. Is right, right. Could also be him or he. What about ha at the end of a word?
The ha is her.
Correct. Which, as an object pronoun, it has the same function, or excuse me, it works. It's the same as a possessive in English. That's her car. I love her. Same word. But in with him or his, that's his car. She loves him. It's different. It's separate.
Can.
Where is he? Right? What about come? What does come mean? Excuse me, come. It's not.
Salakia, so you're broken up.
Can you hear me now?
Can, sir.
Salaki. Nope, not them or they.
It's yours, sir.
I'll take that. I'll take your because it's actually like y'all, like you all. which would also can be your, like as in I could say, right, it's the same equivalent. I could be talking to multiple people and say, is this your land? Right? It's just a second person plural form. So it's the ka but plural.
God.
Like y'all, is this y'all land? Where y'all at? Same thing though. That's the masculine form. The feminine form would be Khan. We used to go at the end of a word. So, like, if I want to say, my God, Allahaya. Your God, Alaka, or Allahayaka. Alawa, Allaha, Alakam, and so on. Your God. You're talking to multiple people. I think literally, yeah, Allahayakum. I believe like when sometime when the Most High says he's talking to Israel, he says, I'm your God, like your God, Allahayakum. Mm-hmm. Right. And then we got hum. What is hum? The end of a word. Go ahead, Yanazor.
Like it's the plural for ha or her, the feminine. No?
Hum is not. Go ahead, Gosh.
It's there.
Right. Or them. Right?
Man.
Them. Well, really, we'll do the possessive first. So it'll be like there. Right? There. But also, remember the same thing we said about the object pronoun. The same way ya is mine or my, but it's also me. This would be there, right? Or them or they. This is the masculine form. The feminine form of this hum is hun. There's one last thing, which again is what I wanted to just kind of use this time to explain, that you're often going to see it described as a possessive. It is technically not a possessive at all. This goes back to what I said last week. We call it possessive because it goes at the end of a word. I understand how that can be confusing. I get it. If you grew up in Esau's, heavy into Esau's school system and so on, you might be more comfortable with words like prefix and suffix. So what, brother? Yeah. You might be more comfortable with words like prefix and suffix. I personally am more comfortable with those words. And that's okay. But you got to get in your mind so we're all on one accord. That's the most important thing, for us all to be on one accord. Okay, so I'm telling you this to help you, because there's going to be brothers that are not going to use words like prefix, suffix, pronominal, adjective. They're not going to use words like that. They're going to, anything written at the end of a word, they're going to call it a possessive. Anything written at the beginning of a word, they're going to call it a what? A preposition.
Preposition.
So just have that in your mind. Don't get scared off if you happen to be watching another brother's Lashawan Qadash class or something, and they say something about a possessive. When they say it, they just mean whatever these inflections that are written at the end of a word. Okay? The last one would be this. I hope y'all can see it. I'm going to write it kind of large. Y'all see that?
Khan.
What is that? What does yum mean at the end of a word? You actually didn't do that one, but that would be what? A knock now is actually the root pronoun. That's a full it's a full word on its own. It's a pronoun on its word on its own. But the possessive for our is actually, you just said it, but it's not. That's the full word. You got to use the, how do I say it? It's like, it sounds like that word, but it's less of it. It's a part of that word. There we go. Exactly. Exactly. Con, get us. Hold up. I see you, sis. Get a sister a hand. Damn right. Damn right, sis. Right? Sister Shardina, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She said plural. Con. That's what yum is. It's plural. Okay? It's the plural form. You put at the end of a word. It's the Hebrew equivalent of what? Of an apostrophe S in English.
Oh.
Plural. It's the apostrophe S. And this is the masculine form. Who knows what the feminine form is? There we go. Exactly. You know, I don't want to be. It's kind of jumbled up right there, but I think you can see it, right? Yun is the feminine form. All of these will constitute possessives. Okay. They're with me. We shall see. Come on, you devil. I've been looking at my sports bets. These devils don't want to do what they're supposed to do. All of them. I don't trust none of them. I tell the devil to get a certain amount of rebounds, and he decides not to do it. I think they might be. It's a conspiracy. Good night. They don't want me to get up out of captivity. It's all good. All right. Most High in Christ. How much time we got? We got 50. Okay. So let's we know these, right? We've seen plenty of examples, especially of the usage of it as a object pronoun, right? I'll probably get one example real quick. Okay. And then I'm gonna just teach y'all a sentence. Like, you know what? F it. Just learn how to say a quick sentence that, you know. I mean, there's plenty of time, so some of these cats don't really get a lot of minutes. So, like it, y'all. I'm not trying to get y'all into my betting endeavors, so I just ignore me. No sweat. But I want to get one example. One more from what we were talking about last week, right? With the object pronoun. Somebody refresh my memory of what an object pronoun is, please, Baba Shah. And in the reverse, you're gonna be looking as you study, man, because that's what's gonna end up happening. You're gonna get curious about different things, and want to get stronger in your Hebrew. You're gonna look stuff up, man. Some of you brothers, y'all really gonna get into it. You're gonna think that, you know what I'm saying, you are the Hebrew scholar. And ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Get with Hazahab and get with General Q and rock it out. You know what I'm saying? They got a brother over there. I don't know why I'm forgetting the brother's name. I don't know what that's about. You know what I'm saying? The brother over there in the UK, that brother, man, he's young. He's nice with the Hebrew. He's excellent. You know what I mean? So that's a Tawab thing. But you're going to see stuff in that blue letter. It's going to confuse you a little bit. It's going to confuse you a little bit. You're going to be like, damn, what the hell? Why does it say that? I wasn't taught that that's a preposition and things of that nature. Hold on 1 second. No sweat, right?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
When you're ready for the object pronoun.
Come on, please. Yeah, right now it's 12. I'll take that. Object pronoun, brother.
The object pronouns are those pronouns that receive the action in the sentence.
Simple, smooth. That is, it's so funny because when I was in grade school and I tried to teach this, I feel like they didn't teach it well. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a simpler, nice, like, I don't know. I just didn't. There's so many things. Y'all think I just noticed stuff. No, I have looked things up for my Lashawan Qadash class and kind of learned it because I had to teach it. And that's something that Habianazo, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you say, well, man, I got to come up with a topic, man. I got class in 2 days. Let me do some research. What can I talk about? Next thing you know, you going down a rabbit hole and you learning a bunch of stuff that you got to go then teach the people, right? So that's what ends up happening. You know what I'm saying? So this is one of those kind of things. So the difference between my, and me is that me is an object pronoun. Mine, and again, I'm just talking about in English. Mine and my are possessives. Technically in English, me is not a possessive. Neither is you. Neither is he or him. Neither is y'all. Neither is there's a possessive, but neither them or they. These are just different forms of pronouns. Right? Really, actually, I don't want to confuse you. Hold up. I'm going to get rid of the they because they's more of a regular pronoun. We'll just say them. Right? Yeah. That's better. Okay. There or them. There actually is already a Hebrew word for they, like they are my brothers or something. That word already exists. Actually, you know what? Hold up. I think hum is also the word for they. Like even by itself. Yup. Yeah, hum is also the word for they. I'm not gonna write it because I'm gonna be technical and be thorough. Hum is both a possessive going at the end of a word, and it's its own pronoun. So hum can be by itself, right? Ha can't be by itself. Wa can't be by itself. Ka can't be by itself. Ya can't be by itself. Yum cannot be by itself. Hum is also its own word. Just wanted to point that out. Okay. But yeah, so let me get this quick example. I'm gonna show y'all a sentence. Go to what the hell? Go to Genesis chapter 24 and verse 55. Genesis 24 and 55. Read it, Baba Gushav, if you could, Yanazo.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 24, verse 55. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10. After that, she shall go.
All right. So now I want to focus on where it says, abide with us a few days. With us. Now, do this quick. We should get this. Us is the what? If we're just dealing with object pronouns right now. So we know that all these possessives also function as object pronouns, which again makes them pronominals, but I don't want to confuse you. But if the object pronoun for me, what is that? That would be what? First person, singular. Ka, you. Second person, singular. Wa, his and ha, her. Third person, singular. Their or them. That would be what? Third person, plural. Come or y'all would be what? Second person, plural. Now, we didn't write it, but there is one that would have to be what? We got everything else. There's one more we haven't listed.
Third person.
Plural, which is what?
First person.
What is the first person plural possessive in English? Our. This is our school. This is our house. This is our land. Now, what is the object pronoun equivalent of the first person plural? You're absolutely 1000% correct in Hebrew. What is it in English? Our is the possessive. What is the third person plural object pronoun? It's possessive. Third person. What's you got? Me, you, he, her, y'all. First person. What's the first person plural equivalent of me, you, he, her?
So like it's a his?
Think about it. What makes something first person? No. What makes it first person? But now I got to include myself as part of a group. And I know the possessive of that is our. This is our house. This is our land. But how do I turn that into an object pronoun if the action... Give him a hand. There it is. That's it. Us is the first person plural object pronoun. Right? Because that's how, just like I would say, hey, do you love me? Do you remember me? If it's a group, I would say, do you love us? Do you remember us? Object pronoun. Because the first person plural regular pronoun, I don't know how to word that. But no, the first person plural subject pronoun is what? Well, we won't spend too much time on it. I'll give it to you. Perfect. Is we. We is the subject pronoun. Us is the object pronoun. Because you would never say, do you love we? Unless you're a slave or something. Right. 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 Yeah. So that's what that is. Now, if we read it in the Hebrew, let's see if what we already know. And remember, Yadazar said it. Nawa. Nawa, we didn't write it, but you can write it, put it in your list. Throw it in there. Nawa is the equivalent of the possessive our, right? And also the object pronoun us. So let me read this in Hebrew. Genesis 24:55. Waya Amar. Ach Yaha. Wa Amha. Or Amah. Thashab. Ha Na'ira. Afnawa. Yum Yum. Awa. Aishawar. Akar. Talak. Y'all catch it? There was actually in this very sentence 3 examples of what's on this board. First one being where it says her brother. It says Achyaha. Right. Achyaha. Her brother, possessive. Her mother, Wa Now I got to talk to Hazahab about it, but I believe in instances like this, depending on where it falls, the ha at the end can actually be connected. So I don't think this is pronounced ha, or it might be amaha. That might be correct. I got to ask Officer Hazahab. It could be amaha or ama. I'm not sure. I think you can say ama. I'm not sure. I'll get with him. But that's still an example of that ha put at the word for her mother. It's like it. No, I would say no. Remember, it wouldn't be amha. That wouldn't be right because remember, from the word for mother is ama. So it would be amaha. Amaha, I believe, is what it would be. Amaha is, I think, probably most likely what it is. Exactly. Amaha, her mother. Right? Then we go Thashab, Hana'ira, Ath Nawa. Ath Nawa. Ath means with. Ath means with or together. Right. So what? So if you say Ath Nawa, what would that mean? With us. Last one, and we done. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna say one sentence, and then we out. So if Ath Nawa is with us, how would I say with me? How about this? How would I say with him? The board. I thought let's see. Now, Yanazar, have you ever even calculated that ever before? How to say with him? Never. In all these classes we've been together, I've never done it. I don't remember ever trying to figure out how to say with him. Let's see if we're right. I'm gonna type in with him in the blue letter. Let's see what we got. We could be very wrong. We could be wrong. We saying athawa because ath is the root for with, and we know that wa attached to the end of a word means him or his. Genesis 7:7, and Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Now I'm gonna read it in the Hebrew. Wa yawa nak, which is Noah. Wa banyawa. That's the first example. Wa, remember it says his sons, right? But we know that's a possessive. So wa and banyawa. Banya is the plural. Banyawa, his sons. Wa ashathwa and his wife. Wa nashya and the wives. Banyawa of his sons, Athwa, Al, Hathaba, Mapunya, Maya, Hama, Bawal, Athwa, with him. With him. Ooh-wee. I was going to teach y'all sins, but we'll wait till next week. Yeah, we over the time. Next week, I'll teach y'all. We'll start class with that. Teach y'all that sentence, and we'll continue learning about these possessors, pronouns, and so on. Yeah, that'll be real good, and get some new vocabulary as well. Yeah, for sure. Good with it in the class. Are there any questions in the room? Yanazar, Akash, y'all good?
I'm too up, sir.
Y'all swab, Most High in Christ. All right, well, with that being said, we're going to end it there. Next week, we're going to pick up right here. All right. If you have any questions, bring your questions, type them into the chat. If I can answer them, that's exactly what I'll do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, next week, same thing. Just some new concepts as well. You know what I mean? And answer whatever questions y'all have about the Hebrew if I can. Right. But with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Priest and Officer 500 Yanazar.
Security announcements. A shalom, a kashkar.
Shalom, sir.
Security announcements. We are the ISUPK. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18 and 21 in Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashera. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. Remind Akim and Akwathian to check. Oh, Salakia. Upcoming holy convocation is February 22nd, which is the Feast of Purim, which in North Carolina we're going to hold in South Carolina, right? Actually. And Kannapolis, Charlotte for the closing, which is, what is it, Friday and Saturday, right? No, Thursday and Friday, and then the camp is Saturday. Regional camp, mean brothers coming from the whole region, everywhere. Okay? That's in Charlotte. One come. Remind Akim and Akwathiam to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that in visual, I imagine. Got one card. Minavisual, imagine. Minavisual, we give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Minavisual, imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shad. Yajimata. Class dismissed.
Hey, Tawada, Akash, you already know.
I am the boss, sir. Next week.
All right, my brother. Hey, hold on.